One heart, one mission, humanity chose connection. The listening station drifted alone at the edge of known space, far from trade lanes and patrol routes. It was built to hear things no one else could hear. Most days, it listened to nothing but old stars dying slowly and radiation whispering through the dark. Elias had been on shift for 6 hours when the noise changed. At first it felt wrong more than it sounded wrong. A small pressure behind his eyes, a faint rhythm under the static. He adjusted his console and leaned closer, fingers moving slowly, carefully. He had learned long ago that space did not shout. It whispered, and only once. The signal did not follow any known pattern. It was not random, but it was not clean either. It moved like breath. Rise, pause, fall, repeat. Elias frowned. His training told him to mark it as background interference and move on. His instincts told him to listen. He isolated the signal and removed cosmic noise layer by layer. As the data cleared, the rhythm became clearer. It reminded him of a heartbeat, but not quite. Too slow. Too careful. "This is strange," he murmured, though no one else was in the room. He ran a deep scan. No known origin, no visible source. The signal seemed to exist between points, as if space itself was carrying it. Elias sent a routine ping to command, labeling it as an unknown anomaly. The response came back quickly. Ignore it. Archive and delete raw data. He stared at the message longer than he should have. That order was standard. Anything unclear was treated as risk. Humanity had learned that lesson through loss. Still, something about this signal felt different. It did not feel like a threat. Pause. Fall. His breathing slowed without him noticing. He opened a private channel and routed the signal through an experimental interface. The system was designed to compare unknown signals with biological data. It was not meant for this, but Elias had learned to bend rules quietly. The screen flickered. A warning appeared. Correlation detected. Elias sat up straight. The system was matching the signal to human neural rhythms. Not speech. Not language. Emotion. Fear? His pulse quickened. That was impossible. Fear required a mind. A living mind. And there was nothing alive for light years in any direction. Stay calm, he said to himself. He recorded the fragment and encrypted it under a personal code. Then he erased the rest, just as ordered. But the fragment stayed. Hours passed. The station lights dimmed as artificial night began. Elias remained at his console. He should have left. He should have slept. Instead, he did something reckless. He spoke. "This is a human listening station," he said softly, unsure why he kept his voice low. "If anyone is out there, you are not alone." The signal changed. Not immediately. Not dramatically. Just a small shift. A pause that was longer than before. Then the rhythm returned, slightly altered. Elias felt his throat tighten. "It heard me," he whispered. The console chimed. A new data packet formed from the signal fragment. The system began translating not into words, but into concepts. Fear, distance, waiting. Then, slowly, painfully, meaning took shape. "We are afraid too." Elias stumbled back from the console. His chair slid across the floor. "No," he said. No. He ran the translation again. Same result. Someone was out there. Someone who felt fear. Someone who had been listening. Alarms did not sound. No fleets appeared. Space remained silent and dark. That made it worse. Elias knew what would happen if Command found out. Military lockdown. Weapon deployment. First contact protocols written with blood. He made a choice. He sent a private message to an old friend, a civilian research coordinator named Mara. She was known for calm thinking and a stubborn belief that understanding mattered more than control. He sent her the fragment and a single line. "I think we are not alone. And I think they are scared." The reply took hours. Then it came. "Do not delete anything. I am sending a ship." 3 days later, a research vessel slipped quietly into the sector. No weapons powered, no flags displayed. Just a small ship against endless dark. Aboard were Mara, a systems engineer named Rowan, and a former pilot named Theo. They were told this was a survey mission. Only Mara knew the truth. As the ship approached the signal zone, Elias felt the station hum change pitch. The signal grew stronger, clearer, not louder, but closer. Mara stood in the ship's comms room, listening. Her face was still, but her hands trembled. "It feels like someone holding their breath," she said. Rowan frowned at his screens. "The signal is reacting to us, matching our power output." Theo glanced at the tactical display. No weapons locks, no aggression, The ship crossed an invisible boundary. Space shifted, not visually, not physically, but emotionally. The signal wrapped around the ship like a presence, not touching, but aware. Mara spoke. "We are here to listen," she said. "We will not harm you." The signal pulsed sharply. Fear spiked, then settled. Images flooded the system. Broken structures, empty skies, silent cities under alien stars. Not an attack, a memory. Rowan swallowed. "They're showing us loss." Theo exhaled slowly. "They think we might be next." Back on the station, Elias watched the data stream and felt tears burn his eyes. For the first time in human history, first contact was not marked by fire or conquest. It was marked by shared fear. The signal shifted again, forming a new pattern. Clearer, stronger. A question. "Are you real?" Mara closed her eyes before answering. "Yes," she said, "and we are trying to be better than our fear." The signal did not reply with words. It replied by staying. And in that quiet choice, the future held its breath. The research vessel moved quietly through the dark stretch of space, the stars passing like slow sparks outside the reinforced windows. Mara stood at the control console, listening again to the pulse of the signal they had followed for days. Each rhythm, each pattern felt like a heartbeat, not just of a machine, but of someone alive. She had never imagined space could feel so full of presence. Rowan worked beside her, running calculations on how the signal reacted to the ship. "It's not just listening," he said. "It's learning. Every time we change our speed or energy output, it adjusts itself." Theo leaned back in his seat, arms crossed, watching the monitors with a mixture of fascination and concern. "It's cautious," he said. "Not aggressive, but it doesn't trust us yet." Mara nodded slowly. "We have to show it we mean no harm. That's why we are here." The crew continued their approach toward the origin point. The signal pulsed more clearly now, as though urging them forward. Then something unexpected happened. A series of flashes appeared ahead, far brighter than any star. The ship's sensors picked them up as automated defense systems, alien in design but advanced. They moved in a strange pattern, not toward the ship, but alongside it, keeping a measured distance. Theo frowned. "Weapons? Shields? Are we under attack?" Mara shook her head. "No. Look at the movement. They're mimicking us, matching our speed. They don't want to touch us, only to see what we do." Rowan's fingers flew across the panel. "I've never seen this before. Defensive systems that react without aggression? They are cautious, yes, but not hostile. Maybe they are afraid, too." As the ship got closer, the pulses from the alien system intensified. Then the visual display shifted. The monitors showed an alien planet, partially hidden by shadows and smoke. The structures appeared abandoned, crumbled, and empty. No signs of life moved in the images. It looked like a city that had been left behind long ago. Mara stared at the screen, her mouth dry. "They're showing us their world, their history, their loss." Theo leaned forward. "Then why are they still out there? Why are they sending the signal?" Rowan looked thoughtful. "Maybe they are trying to understand what we are. Or maybe they are hoping we can understand them." The ship drifted closer to the planet. Small pulses of energy passed along the alien defenses, almost like a conversation. The lights shifted in response to the ship's movements, creating a strange pattern across the planet's atmosphere. Mara spoke softly. "We have to respond. We can't just watch." She opened the ship's communication system and sent a calm message. "We are here. We are not here to harm you. We want to understand." The response was immediate, not in words, but in movement. The alien systems pulsed in a sequence that matched the rhythm of the ship's communication. The city below responded in flashes, as if acknowledging their presence. The planet itself seemed to watch them, silent and immense. Theo exhaled. "It's like the planet itself is alive. Or at least the systems controlling it are." Rowan's eyes were wide. "It's responding to our intentions. Every signal we send, it mirrors in its own way. It wants to know if we can be trusted." Mara nodded. "We have to keep our tone steady. Show patience. That's the only way we can reach it." They continued to speak, sending small signals, gestures of peace, of understanding. Each time the alien systems reacted, a little faster, a little clearer. For the first time, the city lights formed patterns that were easy to recognize as deliberate. Not random flashes, but sequences meant to communicate. Rowan scanned the data and whispered, "It's learning. It's trying to understand empathy, or at least what it means in us." Theo's jaw tightened. "And if we fail? If we make one wrong move?" Mara shook her head. Then we fail to connect. We can't fear them. We have to trust them enough to try. Hours passed. The ship hovered closer to the planet, careful to avoid triggering any unknown defenses. The alien pulses became almost conversational, a sequence of rhythms that changed when Mara spoke. It felt like they were listening, not just receiving signals, but reacting to emotion, to voice, to presence. Suddenly the planet shivered in energy. Not destructive, but a wave of movement passed through the systems, a ripple that matched the crew's own heartbeats. It was subtle, almost impossible to notice without close observation, but it left a mark on all of them. Rowan's voice was hushed. It's matching us. Matching our emotions. Every change in our pulse, it follows. Mara swallowed. It wants connection, not conflict. But it is afraid. Afraid of what we might do, or afraid of being hurt again. Theo looked at her. We can't let anyone attack it. If anyone finds out what we're doing, they'll see this as an opportunity to strike first. They'll see weakness as a threat to exploit. Mara nodded. We have to protect it until they are ready. And we have to prove that humans are capable of empathy. The ship hovered in silence, waiting. Then a new display appeared. Small shapes moving carefully on the planet's surface. They were mechanical, but not weapons. They mirrored the ship's movements exactly, moving as if trying to learn coordination. Not an attack, not defense, observation. Rowan leaned forward, eyes wide. They are learning. They've never seen it before, Mara whispered. We are showing them. Step by step. That connection is possible. Theo exhaled slowly, tension leaving his shoulders a little. We're in uncharted territory. No one has ever seen this before. Not fear, not hostility, just mutual understanding in space. As the day passed into artificial night aboard the ship, the alien systems pulsed steadily, forming patterns that were almost like breathing. The planet below seemed to settle into a rhythm with them. For the first time, the crew realized they were not just observers, they were participants. Mara placed her hand lightly on the console. They want to know if we are real. If we can choose empathy over fear. Rowan nodded. And they are willing to wait for an answer. Theo's voice was quiet but firm. And we have to be careful. Every step matters. Every signal matters. We can't fail them. The ship remained in orbit, neither advancing nor retreating, a single point of life in the vastness of space. The alien city, silent and ruined, seemed to watch them pulse by pulse, waiting for humans to show what they were capable of. Night turned to day in the ship's artificial cycles, and the signal continued to react to them. Every time Mara spoke, the rhythm changed. Every time Rowan adjusted power or speed, the system learned. Every small human gesture, from Theo's careful movements to Mara's calm voice, was recorded and mirrored. It became clear that the alien system was not a weapon. It was a test. Not of skill or technology, but of humanity itself. The crew understood then the weight of what they were doing. The first real encounter with life beyond Earth was not about dominance. It was about trust, patience, and understanding. Then the planet shifted slightly. Not physically, but energetically. A wave of pulses traveled across the entire system. The ship's sensors caught it, and the crew watched as the ruined cities flickered, light spreading across broken structures. It was subtle, but unmistakable. Rowan whispered, It's responding. It's more than cautious now. It's engaging. Mara felt a shiver run down her spine. They are reaching out, and we have to reach back carefully, with every word, every action, every heartbeat. Theo leaned against the wall, watching the patterns on the screens. I've seen battles in space. I've seen fire and death, but this is something else, something bigger. We are the first humans to communicate with life that has lost so much and still cares enough to try. The night in orbit passed slowly. Mara, Rowan, and Theo took turns monitoring the signal, every pulse and pattern feeling like a conversation. They were learning, teaching, and hoping all at once. The alien system reacted with subtle changes, almost imperceptible but full of meaning. Each beat was a question, each pause an answer, and then, as the first cycle of artificial day ended, the signal sent something new. Not words, not language, but a series of pulses that directly matched the human brainwave patterns recorded from Mara's shift. It was almost like the alien system was attempting to mirror thought, emotion, and intention. It was reaching for understanding. Mara placed her hand on the console again. It's trying to understand us. It doesn't know if it can trust us, but it's trying. Rowan nodded slowly. And we are trying too. Every step we take is teaching it that connection is possible. Theo's gaze hardened. But the real test hasn't started yet. Not until others find out. Not until we have to prove to everyone and to them that humanity can be trusted. They watched the signals continue, pulse by pulse, heartbeat by heartbeat. The alien system waited. Patient, cautious, but willing. Humanity had arrived at the edge of understanding, and the first choice had already been made. They could reach for connection or retreat in fear. Mara, Rowan, and Theo knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to reach out. They wanted to show that humans could be more than fear and fire, and for the first time the alien system seemed to recognize that intention, pulsing steadily as if answering back, not with words, but with presence. The journey had only begun, and the universe held its breath. The ship remained above the ruined planet, the silent structures below like frozen memories of a civilization that had once thrived. Mara stood at the observation window, staring at the crumbling towers and empty streets. Each pulse of the alien signal felt like a heartbeat echoing from the surface. She could not shake the feeling that someone, or something, was still alive down there, hidden among the ruins. Rowan leaned over the console, scanning the data again. These readings are incredible. Their system survived everything, even without the species that built them. They are advanced self-learning, but also cautious. They have never interacted with anyone who did not destroy them. Theo rubbed his jaw, eyes tired from constant vigilance. And now we are here. They have no reason to trust us yet. Every move we make could be the wrong one. Mara nodded slowly. Then we have to move carefully. Show that we can be different. That humanity can be more than destruction. The ship hovered closer to the planet. The pulses from the alien systems intensified, forming patterns that seemed to anticipate the ship's next movements. They were no longer random or defensive. They were observational, curious. Every adjustment the crew made to speed or direction was mirrored in the alien energy fields, almost like the planet itself was breathing around them. Rowan's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. It's as if the systems are learning to predict us. They are trying to understand cooperation. Mara watched the sequence of lights below and felt a shiver run down her spine. They survived alone for centuries, maybe longer, and now, for the first time, they're encountering another species that is not here to destroy them. We have to prove that we can be trusted. Theo glanced at the monitor. Then we need to act like it. No weapons, no aggression, just presence and patience. They opened another channel of communication, sending a series of pulses in a calm, steady rhythm. Each pulse carried a simple message. We are here. We come in peace. We wish to understand. The alien systems responded almost immediately, altering their rhythm to match the human signals. Each interaction became more precise, more deliberate, as if the planet itself was learning from their actions. The city below began to respond in new ways. Certain structures, previously dark, flickered with energy, sending signals that were harder to interpret but clearly intentional. Small movements on the ground, mechanical yet careful, mirrored the ship's actions. They were studying coordination, learning how humans acted, how humans thought. Rowan leaned closer to the console. They are trying to teach themselves how to cooperate. They have never done this before. They don't understand compassion, only survival and caution. Mara placed her hand on the console. Then we have to show them. Every gesture, every word, every pattern we send has to prove that connection is possible. Hours passed and the alien systems began to respond more quickly to the human pulses. The rhythms became almost conversational, an exchange of curiosity and observation. For the first time, the crew realized that the alien civilization was not gone. They had survived in their technology, their systems, waiting for someone who could understand. Suddenly, the monitors displayed a new pattern. It was not a random pulse or defensive maneuver. It was deliberate, almost as if the systems were attempting to speak. Rowan's eyes widened. They are trying to communicate. They don't have language as we know it, but they are forming a way to show meaning. Mara's voice was soft. We have to respond carefully. They are reaching out, and we cannot fail them. Theo's expression was tense. We are stepping into something bigger than ourselves. Every action matters. One mistake, one wrong signal, and we could destroy the trust we are building. The alien systems pulsed in a sequence that mirrored the human brain waves recorded earlier. The rhythms shifted as if reflecting thought, emotion, and intent. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it left a profound impression on the crew. The planet below, though ruined, seemed to breathe with them, acknowledging their presence. Mara spoke gently into the communication system. We are here to understand. We want to learn. We come with respect. The response was immediate. The pulses became faster, more complex, almost like a heartbeat echoing hers. The mechanical forms on the ground moved in unison, matching the rhythm of the ship and the human signals. The planet, though silent and devastated, was alive in its own way, learning and reacting, Rowan whispered. It's a dialogue. Not with words, but with patterns, with intention. They are testing if we are capable of cooperation. Mara nodded. Then we have to pass that test. Show them that humans can act with empathy, that we can choose connection over fear. The night in orbit passed slowly. The alien systems continued to pulse, each sequence responding to the human signals. Mara, Rowan, and Theo took turns monitoring the patterns, feeling the weight of responsibility. Every small gesture, every careful movement, every calm word was a message. We are here, and we mean no harm. Then a new phenomenon appeared. A wave of energy passed through the alien systems, not destructive but powerful. It traveled across the city, activating structures and systems that had been silent for centuries. The monitors showed patterns forming across the planet's surface, sequences that matched the ship's signals almost exactly. The alien civilization was awakening, not in flesh but in technology, learning from the humans above. Rowan leaned back, awe in his eyes. They are learning trust. They've never experienced it before, and now because of us they can understand it exists. Mara felt tears prick her eyes. They survived alone for so long. Now, for the first time, someone is showing them they are not alone. Theo's voice was firm. We have to protect this. We cannot let anyone interfere. If the wrong people find this, it will be treated as a threat, and everything we've built will be destroyed. Mara nodded. We are the bridge. If we succeed, it will change everything. Humanity could prove that connection is possible across the stars. As the artificial night turned to day aboard the ship, the signal continued to react pulse by pulse. Each beat of energy was a question, each pause an answer. The alien systems mirrored human thought and intention, slowly forming a language of trust and observation. The crew realized that this was more than first contact. This was a test of humanity itself. The alien civilization, having survived alone for centuries, was trying to understand if humans were capable of empathy, of patience, of cooperation. And the humans, in turn, were learning that connection required courage and restraint. Then, as the cycle continued, the signal sent a new pattern, directly mirroring Mara's brainwave rhythms. It was subtle but deliberate, an attempt to understand thought and emotion. Mara placed her hand on the console, feeling the presence of the alien systems like a heartbeat across space. They are trying to understand us, she whispered. They don't know if they can trust us, but they are willing to try. Rowan nodded slowly. And we are trying, too. Every step, every signal, every gesture teaches them that connection is possible. Theo's gaze hardened. But the real challenge isn't here. It will come when others learn about this, when we have to prove to the rest of humanity and to them that we can be trusted. The ship remained in orbit, a lone point of life in the vast darkness. The alien systems pulsed steadily, responding to the humans above. They were cautious, yes, but willing to engage, to learn, to reach out. Humanity had arrived at the edge of understanding, and the first choice had already been made, to reach for connection instead of retreating in fear. Mara, Rowan, and Theo knew what they had to do. They had to show patience, empathy, and courage. They had to teach the alien systems that humans were capable of more than destruction. And as the signals pulsed steadily in response, they realized that the universe was watching, and the first step toward understanding had already begun. The calm did not last. Far from the silent planet, messages began to move through human space. Small fragments of data leaked from secure channels passed quietly from system to system. What had started as a secret effort to protect a fragile connection was now becoming something dangerous. Information always found a way to escape. On the research vessel, Mara felt it before she saw it. The alien signals shifted. A steady, careful rhythm faltered, like a breath caught in fear. The pulses became uneven, uncertain. Rowan looked up sharply from his console. Something's wrong. Their systems are reacting to external traffic. Long-range scans. Theo's hand tightened on the edge of his station. Human ships? Rowan nodded slowly. Yes, multiple. Military grade. They're not responding to our channels. Mara closed her eyes for a moment. She had known this would happen. Humanity feared what it did not control. And fear traveled faster than understanding. The alien planet reacted almost at once. Defensive systems flared to life across the surface, energy fields rising like shields. The ruined cities darkened again, lights shutting down as if retreating into memory. The signal spiked with a sharp wave of panic. "They think this is an attack," Mara said softly. "After everything? They think we failed them." Theo stood. "We can't let this escalate. If the fleet fires even once, it's over." Rowan's fingers moved fast. "They're locking onto orbital paths, not firing yet. But they're preparing." Mara opened every available channel. "This is a civilian research vessel. You are approaching a non-hostile contact situation. Stand down." There was no reply. The fleet continued its advance, silent and cold. To them, the unknown planet was a threat or a prize. Advanced technology, untouched by war, something to secure before someone else did. The alien systems responded with rising fear. Pulses overlapped, chaotic and fast. The careful patterns of learning and trust shattered under the weight of old memories. This was not their first encounter with outsiders. Mara felt a tight ache in her chest. They're shutting down emotionally, retreating. If they close themselves off now, we may never reach them again. Theo made a decision. He walked to the ship's control core and began powering down weapon systems that were already inactive. He opened the internal network and broadcast the action openly without encryption. Rowan stared at him. "What are you doing?" Theo's voice was steady, making sure they see it, making sure everyone sees it. Mara understood. She sent the data directly into the alien signal stream. No words, just proof. Human systems going dark by choice. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the alien pulses slowed. Fear did not vanish, but it changed shape. The rhythm steadied, cautious but curious again. Defensive systems hesitated, hovering between activation and restraint. "They noticed," Rowan whispered. "They're processing it." But the human fleet did not stop. New orders came through open military channels. Secure the planet, disable unknown systems, no engagement unless necessary. Necessary was a word that often meant too late. Mara made her own choice. She routed a message beyond command channels, bypassing authority and protocol. She sent the truth to civilian networks, public systems, and independent relays. She sent recordings of the alien signals, the ruined cities, the patterns of fear and learning. She sent proof that the beings on that planet were not weapons, not monsters, but survivors. Across human space, people listened. Families, students, workers, scientists, pilots, ordinary humans who had never seen an alien world but understood loss. Messages began to return. Not orders, not threats. Voices. Simple greetings, calm tones, time-shared emotions. Millions of small signals sent together, not as a command but as a choice. The alien systems felt it. The signal surged, not in fear but in shock. The planet's defenses paused completely. Energy fields shifted direction, no longer focused outward toward the approaching fleet, but upward and outward, intercepting stray debris and shielding nearby human satellites. Theo let out a breath he had been holding. "They're protecting us." Rowan's eyes were wide. "They chose us." The fleet hesitated. Sensors showed alien defenses active, but not hostile. They were not attacking. They were guarding. Confusion spread through command channels. This was not how threats behaved. On the planet, faint lights returned to the ruined cities. Not many. Just enough to show presence. The alien signal returned to a slower rhythm, still tense, but no longer collapsing into fear. Mara spoke again, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. "We did not abandon you. We are here. We are choosing you." The response came not as words, but as a clear pattern, a shared rhythm that matched the combined signals of millions of human voices. Understanding. But the danger was not gone. A small group within the fleet broke formation. Independent ships, acting without approval. They accelerated toward the planet, weapons powering up. Theo swore under his breath. "They're going to force it." Mara looked at him. "Then we stand in the way." Without waiting for orders, the research vessel moved. Slowly. Directly. It placed itself between the planet and the approaching ships. Rowan's voice shook. "We won't survive a direct hit." Theo nodded. "I know." Mara placed her hand on the console. "Then let them see what choice looks like." The alien systems reacted instantly. Defensive fields surged, not around the planet, but around the small human vessel. The signal spiked with urgency and fear mixed with something new. Concern. The rogue ships slowed. Weapons did not fire. The universe seemed to pause. In that fragile moment, the meaning of connection became clear. Not control, not power, but the willingness to stand vulnerable for another. The research vessel held its position. The alien planet held its breath, and across the stars, humanity faced its reflection, forced to decide what kind of species it truly was. The small research vessel stayed in place, floating between the armed ships and the silent planet. Its engines were steady, its weapons dark. To the fleet, it looked fragile. To the alien systems below, it looked brave. Inside the ship, the air felt heavy. No one spoke for several long seconds. Every warning system was quiet, but that silence felt louder than any alarm. Theo kept his hands on the controls, his posture calm, though his heart beat hard in his chest. He had faced death before in battle, but this was different. There was no enemy to fight, only a choice to hold.
Rowan watched the external sensors. The rogue ships are slowing, he said carefully.
They're confused. They didn't expect resistance without weapons. Mara nodded, her eyes fixed on the signal patterns from the planet. Neither did they, she said softly. The alien pulses shifted again. Fear was still there, but now it was layered with something else. Attention. Focus. The systems were watching the human ship closely, tracking its position, its power levels, its intent. They're worried about us, Rowan said, disbelief in his voice. After everything, they're worried about us. Then we can't move. Not now. From the fleet, a new message arrived. This one was not automated. It was a human voice, sharp and controlled. You are ordered to clear the area immediately. You are obstructing a security operation. Mara opened the channel. Her voice was calm but firm. This is not a security operation. This is first contact. If you fire, you will destroy the only trust these beings have ever offered. There was a pause. They are not human, the voice replied. We cannot assume intent, Mara swallowed. Neither could they. And yet, they chose restraint. They chose to protect us. No reply came. The rogue ships drifted closer again, slow but deliberate. Weapon systems began to warm. Theo saw the indicators light up on his display. That's it, he said quietly. They're going to force it. He adjusted the ship's position slightly, placing the vessel directly in the projected firing path. There was no doubt now. Any shot aimed at the planet would strike them first. Rowan looked at him. You know what that means. Theo nodded. Yes. Mara closed her eyes for a brief moment, then sent one final message into the alien signal stream. Not data, not commands. Just raw intent. We are here. We will not move. The alien response was immediate and overwhelming. The planet flared with light. Energy surged across the surface, not outward in attack, but upward in defense. A vast field expanded, wrapping around the small human ship like a protective shell. The energy signature was unlike anything human technology had ever recorded. It was precise, controlled, and gentle. Rowan stared at the readings. They're shielding us. They're risking exposure to protect us, Theo whispered. They understand. The rogue ships fired. The shots never reached their target. Alien systems intercepted the weapons mid-flight, dissolving the energy harmlessly into space. No explosions, no debris, just silence. Then the alien systems acted. With surgical precision, they disabled the attacking ships. Power systems shut down. Weapons went dark. Engines failed. The ships drifted, intact and unharmed. The entire engagement lasted seconds. Across the fleet, shock spread. This was not an enemy response. This was control without cruelty. On the research vessel, no one moved. They could have destroyed them, Rowan said slowly. But they didn't. Mara felt tears fall freely now. They chose mercy. The alien signal changed again. For the first time, it carried something unmistakable. Not fear. Not caution. A question. It came through the interface in broken, simple meaning formed from shared patterns and mirrored emotion. How do we belong together? Mara's breath caught. They're asking us, she whispered. Not what we are, not what we want. But how? Theo leaned back in his seat, exhausted. After everything they've lost, they still want connection. Rowan nodded. And now humanity has to answer. Across human space, the aftermath rippled outward. News of the disabled ship spread quickly. So did the recordings of the alien response. The images of a ruined world choosing protection over revenge reached billions. Public reaction was immediate. Fear did not vanish, but it changed. Questions replaced threats. Curiosity replaced anger. People saw themselves reflected in the alien choice. Hurt, cautious, but still willing to reach out. Command channels went silent. No further orders came. The research vessel remained where it was, wrapped in alien protection, floating between two futures. Mara opened a channel, not to command, but to the planet. "We don't know everything yet," she said honestly. "We are flawed. We make mistakes. But when it matters, we can choose to stand together. If you are willing, we will learn how to belong step by step." The response was slow, thoughtful. The alien systems pulsed in a new rhythm, one that blended human and alien patterns together. Not perfect, not complete, but shared. Rowan smiled faintly. "This is it." The beginning. Theo looked out at the stars. "And it only cost us our certainty." The planet's ruined cities glowed softly, not with full power, but with presence. The alien civilization, once alone and afraid, was no longer isolated. They had chosen connection, even after centuries of loss, and humanity, standing unarmed in the dark, had answered in kind. The universe did not change all at once, but something essential shifted. One heart, one mission, and a fragile, powerful bond that no weapon could ever create. The research vessel stayed in orbit above the quiet planet, the alien pulses now calm and steady. The city ruins below glowed softly, a gentle proof that someone, somewhere, had chosen trust over fear. Mara, Rowan, and Theo moved through the ship with careful steps, not speaking unless necessary, listening to the soft rhythm of alien systems that now seemed like companions rather than strangers. Messages from across human space continued to arrive. Hundreds of millions of humans inspired by Mara's broadcasts had sent synchronized signals of greeting and reassurance. Their voices, simple and clear, echoed through networks and reached the alien sensors. The planet responded in kind, a pulse that matched human intent with alien precision. Mara placed her hands on the console and watched. "They are learning our emotions," she said softly. "And we are learning theirs. For the first time, it is mutual." Rowan nodded, his eyes reflecting the glowing screens. "This is more than first contact. This is the start of something new. A joint effort across species, across fear." Theo exhaled slowly. "We showed restraint. We showed patience. And now they are showing it back. But the rest of humanity has to understand this too. We can't just leave it in the hands of a few." Mara agreed. "That is why we cannot leave yet. We need to become the bridge, a permanent presence. The first step toward connection must be steady and reliable." They were different now, composed not of simple pulses of fear or caution, but of complex sequences that suggested thought, questioning, and curiosity. The aliens were teaching themselves to understand humans, just as humans had been learning them. Rowan tapped at the console, analyzing the sequences. "They are asking questions. Not words, but concepts. They want to understand what it means to belong, to cooperate." Mara leaned closer. "And we have to answer, not just with messages or signals, but with actions." The first step was a test of mutual trust. Mara suggested sending a small crew down to the planet. Theo and Rowan protested at first. It was dangerous. No one knew what lay beneath the ruined cities, how much of the original species might survive, or how fragile the alien systems were. But the planet had responded to human intent with protection. It was time to take the next step. Suiting up, the small team descended in a shuttle, moving carefully through the calm alien defenses. The surface of the planet was rough, littered with crumbled structures and strange technology. Every step echoed into the silence. Every touch on the consoles or walls transmitted signals back to the orbiting vessel. As they explored, they found evidence of survival. Small, self-repairing systems, dormant for centuries, had maintained the essentials: power distribution, environmental regulation, communication grids. The aliens had endured without other life forms, teaching themselves patience, endurance, and survival. Mara touched a glowing panel. The system reacted, lights flowing in patterns that reflected her heartbeat, a simple gesture of trust and interaction. Rowan looked around in awe. They built this to survive alone, but not to thrive. They waited for someone to show that connection was possible. Theo nodded, scanning the ruins. "And we are that proof." Hours passed as they explored, documenting the systems, understanding the rhythms of a species that had survived without others. Every step was mirrored in the alien signals back to the orbiting ship and through space. It was a dance of observation, understanding, and trust. Meanwhile, across human space, more signals arrived. The public had seen, and now they participated. People sent simple messages, recordings of greetings, cultural stories, even music. Each contribution was tiny but collectively powerful. The aliens responded, processing each wave, recognizing patterns, learning to trust intent rather than instinct. Back on the planet, Mara paused. They are not just observing. They are learning the value of choice. They are learning that connection can exist even after fear. Rowan smiled faintly, and we are learning to be better. Not perfect, but capable of restraint, courage, and patience. Theo adjusted his scanner to pick up subtle fluctuations in the alien signal. They are asking more now. Questions about how we live, how we care for each other, how we decide when to protect or fight. They want to know if humans are worthy of partnership. Mara's voice was soft but firm. We answered by showing them. Every step, every gesture, every choice is our answer. As the sun, or what passed for one on this distant world, shifted over the horizon, the alien systems displayed a new pattern. It was not just a pulse or sequence, but a network of signals, branching like the thought processes of a mind. They were forming a kind of language, not written or spoken, but shared and understood. Communication, not through words, but through empathy, trust, and shared intent. Rowan leaned back, eyes wide. They are creating a bridge for us, as much as we are creating one for them. Mara nodded. This is how we belong together. Step by step, heartbeat by heartbeat, signal by signal. Theo gazed at the distant horizon, and humanity's choice is clear. We have to be better. We have to protect this bond, because it is fragile and it is precious. The alien planet pulsed again, softly, steadily, sending reassurance through space. Not fear, not anger, a quiet understanding. Mara sent a simple gesture back, a pulse reflecting the combined rhythms of the human signals across the galaxy. The aliens mirrored it, adding complexity, curiosity, and recognition. The message was clear. Connection was possible. Trust could exist. Empathy could cross species, across stars. Hours turned into days. The research team documented, learned, and lived alongside the alien systems. Every interaction was a lesson. Every signal a proof of what could be achieved. The ruined cities slowly began to hum with life, not from inhabitants, but from purpose. The alien systems had found a partner. Back in orbit, the vessel monitored the planet, now fully synchronized with human signals and intentions. Bridge was complete, fragile but unbroken. The aliens were no longer alone. Humanity had chosen to connect. The public across human space continued to send messages. Scientists, children, artists, families, all contributed. Every message, every wave of energy reinforced the trust. The alien planet responded in kind, a new rhythm emerging that blended human emotion with alien reasoning. Rowan whispered, "We are witnessing history. Not conquest, not war. Connection, understanding, partnership." Mara nodded, tears in her eyes. This is what it means to be human. To choose connection when fear is easier. To hold fast to empathy even when survival demands caution. Theo exhaled, and we are not alone anymore. Not them, not us. The alien pulses formed a new pattern, almost like laughter, curiosity, and hope combined. The planet's systems had learned to belong, just as humans had learned to reach out. One heart, one mission. A fragile bond that spanned light years, uniting two species in trust, patience, and courage. And in that quiet, shared moment, the universe seemed to listen. The choice had been made, and the consequences of that choice would echo across the stars forever. Humanity was remembered not for strength, not for conquest, but for the courage to connect, to reach out first, and to never let go.